Hello and welcome to the show. I am back on a Car Mechanic Simulator. Today we're going to be starting work on our Pantera. Having finished the Manx off, I'm going to be building this car with only using parts that I find. I'm not going to buy any parts from the shops. That is going to be the challenge. It is a bit more time-consuming way of doing things, but it's also a more rewarding way of doing things, where you eventually get the car finished. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. The first part is to, well, pull everything off and see what we actually have to work with. This being a junkyard car means that we have got all of the running gear parts, but we are missing a fair amount of engine stuff. And in fact, of the vehicles that we've got, I actually got relatively lucky with the last few cars that I've pulled out of the junkyard. However, this one is not the case, and this one is missing a lot of the engine. So we are going to have to find engine parts. The good news is that, while yes, we are going to have to find engine parts, this is a relatively common engine. So, there is plenty of potential for finding engine parts. The V8 in this can be found in a lot of different cars. Now, this is the 2-carb version, so unfortunately we can't go and borrow the engine out of our performance barge, because that is a single carb one, and with the way that this game works, the engines aren't sort of compatible for changing, despite the fact that the same basic bits are, well, you know, the same block, same crankshaft, all of that kind of bits and pieces, but yeah, we can't kind of interchange the engines. It also does mean we can't go and put a supercharger on this if we wanted to at the moment, but yeah, it is what it is, and that's what we have to work with. I have also sold all of the bits that I had in my inventory before starting this, because I had a lot of leftover parts from various vehicles. I made like 20 grand, I think, on parts alone from the BMWs and so on. So yeah, we cleared out the inventory. We're going to just work on bits that we can find for this. Now, there will be some bits that are going to be very difficult to find. There are going to be some bits, things like the oil pan, for example, so difficult to come across in a, well, I say, certainly in a junkyard car. You'll find them in the piles of the junk, but with the amount of mods I have installed on here, it's going to take, because there's so many body parts for various different cars, it's going to take so long going through the piles of junk. We might have to hope and get lucky that we can either find another Pantera wreck in the junkyard to steal some bodywork parts off. We might have to search through the piles. We might even have to go to the auction house to find bits and pieces. Yeah, not quite sure on all of that. The tyres are actually going to be a bit of a pain in the ass as well for this car. If these don't come off in good condition, which I'm not really expecting them to, but finding the tyres, again, because these are huge tyres on the back of this. Not many cars, certainly in the game by default, come with this sort of size tyre. So that's going to be a fun thing to deal with. Rear suspension on this, fairly straightforward. Not the most common, though, of suspensions here. I'm not sure what other car has this. One of the muscle cars must do, but unlike the sort of leaf spring rear suspension that, again, we see on a fair few vehicles, this one is a little bit more of a, yeah, rarity. I guess we might have to be honest, find another. In fact, it's very likely we're going to have to find another Pantera to get some of the parts for it. So if we do find one, wherever we find it, it's going to come with a full accompaniment of driveline gear. So between the two, we should probably be able to grab everything. Hell, if we end up needing a leaf spring U-bolt, we can just go and find a car that has got normal leaf springs at the back, if we like, and that will do the job. Looking at the condition of these parts that are coming off is not too bad. A lot of them are going to be repairable, at least. Please be repairable. Thank God for that. The whole rear drive bit will. Clutch, do we not have a... Oh, we didn't have a gearbox either. Actually, that's a... Okay, so wait, right. Okay, that's cool. The way that this works, it doesn't actually come with a gearbox, this engine. So to fit everything into a car, it just kind of makes sense in some ways. I guess it'll be do they have is it transaxle where you have like the gearbox inside the kind of rear axle? Did they have that on the Pantera? It might have done. Either way, it's a way of having a rear engine and having it all neatly packaged into this, or a mid-engine. Having it all neatly packaged into this car, essentially, is what we've got going on here. And that is nice to see. We have got, well, all the pistons on one side and all the pistons on the other. This is a really incomplete engine. Bugger me. This is a really, really incomplete engine. Let's drop the car down. Where's that crane gone? We'll grab the engine out. It'll be easier to work on the vehicle. Don't worry about it going to the front of the car. Pull the engine out of there and add it onto here. Well, one of the engine head is going to be repairable at least, because I saw that was at like 18-19%, which is good news. Oh wow, we have a singular rocker arm. Oh god, I remember the search through the junkyards for the rocker arms, and the singular rocker arm is not even going to be repairable. Ah, crap. It's probably going to be to a barn find and hope and pray that we can find something with a old V8. That is the only downside with as many mods as I have on here, is that the probability of me finding cars with engine bits that I want is now less, because there's so many different cars with so many different sorts of engines and so on. That these common V8s that we have had, oh, we actually got timing gear at the front. That's curious. Actually quite rare. We've got camshaft and everything. Oh, the camshaft's buggered. The crankshaft is not buggered, and the engine is. And the engine block's not buggered either. I mean, that is something. Right, let us go and grab that welder. Good place to start, of course, with all of this is to weld up the chassis, see what we are kind of working with, I guess. It's also a very, very purple Pantera. Don't ask why, don't know, but there we go. We've got both the lights. Okay, we've got both the lights. We've got rear bumper. We've got front end, which is quite nice. We're actually going to have license plates. Do we have a front one on this car? No, we have a license plate. We have a front right fender. We don't have the left-hand side. We don't have either door. That's a problem. We don't have either door. I think I might have actually picked up the rear window by accident at some point, these rear quarter windows. Also, we seem to apparently have, it's rather strange, I don't know whether it's a slight visual glitch, but we seem to have the window from the right-hand door. It's kind of in the car. I don't quite know. Don't quite know about that, but there we go. Left window, right, I did pick that up already. Ooh, exhausts. Wait, hold on, no, they're okay, so the exhaust, okay, so this is another one where the exhaust system is a fender, just so that they can have the proper car-looking exhaust. I don't know if the exhaust is going to be in the engine then. How do we... Oh, I'm not going to be able to see, are we? Don't know. I guess it will just have exhaust manifolds coming out, and then I imagine the... essentially bodywork fake fenders will go on. Sure, that will work. That will work. Oh, we have a seat, of course, as well to go and pull out of the car. The seat's not going to be too difficult to find, thank God. Also, the seats are kind of transferable between cars. Okay, let's go and repair everything up. We'll see what we are left to work with when we've got as much repaired as we can. So, as much has been repaired as can be. The good news is, on the most part, all of the really rare, I say the really rare bits, but the things like specific to the Pantera, I managed to repair pretty much all of them. The two things that I did break was one of the engine heads and the front seat. So, there we go. I mean, the engine head, while it is an important part, this engine was so incomplete to begin with that we're going to have to scavenge a lot for the engine regardless, so I'm not too annoyed with that, and that's a fairly common part. The V8 engine head is something that we can come across. Now, other bits, we got the gearbox. Oh, not all the gearbox could have been repaired. Oh, did we get the camshaft? No, camshaft's too broken, wasn't it? Yeah, we've got most of the bodywork was repaired successfully. I believe that we could have. It wasn't the left fender we had. The front end we do have. That can be completed. Front right fender, that couldn't. So we're going to need front end parts. I think that'll be a bugger to find, aren't they? We don't have a window. We don't have a hood. We should have... Oh, come on now. Get caught on the welder, there we go, I can English. That was the other side that we had that bit for. We do have a trunk, which is good. We have got one tail light, and the other tail light, and not a rear bumper. Ah, crap. That's going to be a bugger to find, isn't it? Okay, oh, back to normal mode. Now, I believe we did get most of the rear axle fixed. So let's go put in the suspension stuff that we do have now, and then we will see what we are left to work with later on. So we did get the axle in. Oh, I've got both of these fixed. That's good news for me. I got both the wheel hubs, solid control arms, shock absorbers. Yes. Now that's good news. Leaf spring plates are in, and we've got one U-bolt missing. I seem to remember we had a U-bolt missing for ages on the... I say missing, it's broken. On the hot rod that I built in this manner. Both the rear springs. So we need a rear spring cap. It's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse to find. It's going to be... crap, the drive axles are gone on both sides. Okay. We're very much going to have to find a new... I say a new. We're going to have to find another one of these cars. That would be a very, very helpful thing. We're certainly going to try and find it for the bodywork, at least. We didn't have a radiator to begin with, so that's fun and games. We don't have a wheel cylinder, that's buggered. We do have a control arm, though, and a rubber bushing to finish off this kind of back part of the car. Again, as much of the back part of the car as we can. Obviously, it's a spring cap that's buggered, yeah. Okay. And to the front, it's not... Yeah, we've not done terribly, considering it didn't have many parts to begin with. We've not done terribly for the bits, certainly the big important bits that have come out of the car. A lot were in good enough condition to repair. So while the engine was largely incomplete with this, the good news, the positive news in all of it, is that what is here wasn't in awful condition to begin with, on the most part. Why did I say anything? Okay, so basically I can't do any more with the front of this car until we get those... housing bits. I can't remember what the proper term for them is. Brake servo was repairable. Battery needs to go on charge. Suspension, right. So we need steering knuckle B. That's what we're after. Yeah, I can't do anything more with the front of that car because both of those are gone. I can't do any more with the engine either. So that's as much as we can restore for now. Let's go to the... We're going to go to the junkyard. We're going to see if we can find... Maybe another... it's going to be difficult to find another Pantera, but we'll have a look around. If we can find anything with a 2-carb V8 that has a decent amount of parts in it, I would be happy. I would be very, very happy indeed. So let's go and... Oh, actually, maybe rather than go to the junkyard, I do have a barn find to go and explore. Let's go and have a look in the barn and see if we can get lucky coming across the right sort of engine and right sort of parts, the right sort of kind of running gear for our car. Well, what weird and wonderful vehicles await us in here? I haven't seen any vehicles. Oh, I found something I might want a little bit more. Okay, that's a good find in a barn. What are you? You have the engine that we want in the Holden, and we have got a... you have an engine that I want. You have a 2-carb V8 in the Del Rey Custom. I like the Holden. You have a 2-carb V8. Ooh. We need like a workshop engine, I think. 2-carb V8 seems to be a tempting one to go for, and I want this as well. I want this a lot. What have you got in here? You will be a turboed i4? Yeah, you are a turbocharged i4. Oh, it's a little bit expensive, the RS200, but I've got plenty of money, so we will definitely be buying this because I definitely want to work on this at some point. We'll definitely get the Holden. Now, suspension-wise, can I have a look? I'm trying to be sneaky and have a look, see what kind of suspension this car has. It's very difficult. Very difficult. Aha! Right! Oh, it's got the suspension I want! Perfect. We can steal bits off of you, I think. Oh, yeah, you've got a completed suspension that we want as well. Oh, the good old Finnish head bump method of looking through cars. You will be on leaf springs in this, won't we? And so I'm probably not going to want the... Am I going to want this? I'm probably going to steal more parts off the Holden than parts off of the... You know what? We're going to buy all of them. The Holden's only 14 grand, so yes, I want you. You can go to the garage. We definitely want this. You can go to the garage as well. I've got too many cars to work on, basically. Ford can go to the garage, and this... We'll probably steal as many parts off of this as we can, and save the Holden for potentially restoration work. Now, while we are here, I might as well have a look for parts. Since I'm in this area, I might as well have a look for bits and pieces, just in case we happen to come across. It's unlikely, but if we happen to come across a part for the for the Pantera, would be pretty nice. It doesn't really look like we are going to, but these junk piles don't have very much in them to begin with, so the possibilities of everything are pretting slim. You're also getting a rough idea of all of the various different mods that I have installed on here. I mean, we do need a steering wheel. I could probably steal the steering wheel out of the what's it called? Out of the Holden, or hell, out of the Del Rey Custom, the big Bel Air looking car. You're going to have nothing of. We do want a. We've got a 300ZX hanging around, so I might actually go grab both of those while I am here, because at some point they will be used. Did we look through this one here? No, we did not. We might actually need an air filter for the engine. Oh no, of course we won't need an air filter for the. Well, we will need an air filter for the engine, but it won't be that one because it'll be in the. What's it called? The round air filters. Okay. I would say a very, very successful trip. Right, so we are back in our workshop, once again filled with interesting cars. Does this have... Okay, I should care about the tyres on the Holden. Not quite got as bigger a tyres as our rather purple vehicle over there. Now, completion-wise, with your engine, you've got a fair amount of it. We haven't got finding the cover for the air filter is going to be a nightmare, and a lot of these aren't in great condition. But we will pull them all off. That's at 44%. Maybe this one here will just about be repairable. Please be repairable. Bugger. Okay, we're going to need a carburetor of some point. Can steal it from the Holden, which will be helpful. We're going to need an intake manifold as well. Okay, the whole... we're going to have three cars, and we go, oh, have you actually got a clip? It has a clip! It has a magical clip on it! We're going to have to use, like 3 different cars to get all of the bits combined to make one good engine. But admittedly, the first car wasn't great. I don't think the Holden didn't have the top bits either. Yeah, it's going to be... We're definitely going to have to do some searching around through the junk piles in vague hope of finding parts. Again, at least said parts might be more likely to turn up than some of the vehicles that we could work on. Certainly, when I come to restoring that RS200, that would probably be a pain in the arse to find bits for. The vehicles with the i4s don't tend to turn up very often in like the junkyards and so on, because that tends to go in the more modern cars, so we'd probably have to go to an auction if I was doing a rebuild in that manner with the Ford. Looking like it's going to be pretty helpful in terms of the valve push rods and so on. These have all come out of this car in pretty decent condition. Is it a little bit cheaty going for the barn finds? Perhaps. I'd forgotten I actually had one available to us to go and search through. Yeah, some of these parts here are less than likely to turn up. I say less than likely to turn up. It's finding these rocker arms and these valve push rods. There's normally 1 or 2 per trip to the junkyard. Sometimes you might get lucky and get 3, but they're very, very rare. I say they're very rare parts. It's just the percentage, the number of parts that are available in this game, and so yeah, you just don't find very many of them. So it saves a little bit of time. And so you're gonna have a junkyard. It's still being kind of restored in the same manner. I'm not buying any parts outright. I guess there is always chances of finding cars in the junkyard with a decent number of these bits and pieces. I don't actually know what the most complete car I would have got for it. Certainly in the early days of the junkyard, it had a considerable amount of very complete cars in there until things got changed to have, well, more, junkyard-esque vehicles. So probably from when I was, from pulling cars out there, oh, for God's sake, I need an engine head. I just need an engine head in good enough condition to be repairable. Please let it be this one. Please let it be this one that is repairable. Do we have a start? I bet we don't have a starter motor, do we? Nope. We have to grab... maybe the Holden has one. Okay, there is a repairable engine head in there. Whether we're going to be able to repair it or not... But that's the wrong radiator as well, isn't it? I think it's radiator A that we're going to need on the Pantera. Where are we going to find that? don't know. We'll have to have a look. To be fair, the RS200 might actually have radiator A on it, because I think the A is the more common, it's not the more common, the more modern of the radiators, because the Pantera's got different cooling to a lot of the other cars that you will come across on here. Let's go and tail fuel filter will be repairable as well, which is nice. Power steering pump is going to be buggered. Crap. Right, we need to get timing chain off. Cam gear, camshaft, please be repairable. Thank God for that. Then we've got cams to come out of all of this. Oh, we're going to have bearings, potentially. We might actually get the bearings needed. While that's going, let's just have a quick look under the bonnet of this. Okay, so we've got fuel tank, fuel pump, etc. That has got the radiator A that we need. Excellent. And I'm not going to need any of the suspension stuff for that. In here, what do you have? Oh, you do have the cover. I lied. That's good news. That is very good news. Yeah, what I'll probably do is steal, once we've built this car up, I might steal the engine out of it and put it into this when we want to get that Holden running. We might as well if we're going to have the engine hanging around inside the car, or inside the garage, really. So yeah, we can we can transfer. We need a collection of workshop engines that could just be dumped into whatever is needed at the time. Right, bearings. How many do you have? Not all of them. Well, that'd always be a little bit too much to ask, let's face it. That one's going to be repairable, though, at least. We need pistons as well, don't we? We need a fair amount of pistons. How many cars did it take in the end to get our hot rod done? I never actually counted properly, but I think it was probably about 6 cars we used in total. Admittedly, some cars were only used for a couple of bits. The tyres were a nightmare to find for the hot rod. In fact, it never got it back on the original tyres. It was always, or it ended up running on the barge's tyres at the back and its original tyres at the front, I think, by the time I was finished with the damn thing. The bearings, I think, have all come out there in good enough condition to repair, which is going to be nice. Let's go and click on here. Get the pistons out. Please let the piston rings come out in good enough condition. They're on the dodgy end of the spectrum, but they are all going to be repairable so far. Now, of course, the percentage game suggests that something will break, of course. I'll not get every single part repaired, but if there's at least an option to, that does make life considerably easier for me. Right, car can go back up in the air. We'll leave the block in the Delray. I don't see a need for the block here. Crankshaft? What's attached to it? Oh, gearbox, of course. My bad. My bad on that one. We're not going to need a drive shaft, are we, for our... Again, thinking of the Pantera, it's not going to have any of these parts needed for it, because the engine's kind of straight onto that back axle. Actually, that's a good point. We might not even need a starter motor. If the axle is straight onto it, the game won't have an option. Oh, we needed a release bearing as well. We needed all of these clutch parts. Yeah, that's a very good point. I've made to myself. Oh, bugger, the pressure plate's screwed. Important bits that we needed. Right, Delray, you can stay up in the air. Let's go and spam click our way through here and then see what we're working with in terms of the engine. Right, so following a manic repair session, we have got a fair bit more of our engine to put back together. Fingers crossed, we might have enough. It's not quite going to be complete, I don't think, but it's going to be a pretty good start. It's actually definitely not going to be complete because of various bits that we just didn't have on that Delray. But the rest of it does seem... Yeah, okay, we are going to be good. Thankfully, we are going to be good to finish that off. We only have one engine head. Forgot about that. Yeah, we've only got one engine head that we could fix. I think we... Oh, power steering pumps was too buggered as well. And we've got one exhaust manifold at least. That's something. Fingers crossed that the Holden is going to have to come through with these parts. The camshaft was good. Cam gear. In fact, we've got 2 cam gears in all of that. 2 timing chains. Should be a cover as well. Did we get an alternator? I don't actually remember if we pulled an alternator off of the... We did, thankfully. We've got an oil. Yeah, thankfully we can't like misplace parts for the for the cars. Otherwise, this will be a really long game with me searching through many corners of the workshop for that one particular part you don't remember if you pulled off of a vehicle or not. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. We can't misplace parts. Did we repair the clip? Of course, that's the important question. We did! Right, so we don't have the other engine head. For God's sake. Spark plugs we should have enough of to get in here, hopefully. Enough for that side. We'll pull some more off of the... hopefully... I don't have a clutch plate, do we? Of course not. Off of that Holden. Okay, engine's kind of halfway built. It's not great, but the engine is halfway built. The Holden has got... you've got clips on there. See if we can grab clips off of that. Let's pull apart some bits on the Holden. Yes, that is repairable. I think that might have been repairable on the other one as well. Just need one. The filter base is gone, but I think we might have got it from the other one. We're going to get at least one of the carburetors working. And the filter base might be easier to come across. Intake manifold, please be fixable. Of course, we've got to get all the many bolts off. Please be fixable. Yes. Right, this looks like it might be in a little bit better condition overall, so that's going to be helpful. Let's go and pull one of the heads off and pray that we get a little bit of luck in... oh yeah, this looks like a good choice, actually. It's relatively shiny inside, which suggests to me we might be able to get it fixed up. The rocker arms, we probably have in... actually, no, we probably don't quite have enough overall, but with this car as well, we will. with this car, we'll be able to grab enough interesting parts. With these... Certainly with the Holden and with the Pantera to an extent, they don't look like they're going to end up being massively valuable cars. Nothing wrong with that. You don't want every single car being worth 2 or 3 million. Yeah, these two don't look like they're going to be the most valuable of rebuilds, which is why I'll probably mess around with swapping the engines between them and so on. Let's get rid of the spark plugs out of here. Oh, there we go. Engine head. This should be, fingers crossed, a decent... Looks like a decent condition head, 54%. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, power steering pump as well. We needed that. Oh, crap. We're going to take off all the fans and all that guff to get to it, aren't we? Sure, we'll go and do all of that while we're here. Serpentine belts, we must have enough. Over the course of these 3 vehicles, we must have enough for the belts and so on around the car. That's all off of there. Right. Spam click our way through here. Carburetor we needed. This is a very important part. Thankfully we got that. Please don't break that. Thank God for thank God for a little bit of luck there. Clips are fixed. It does mean we should have enough clips for everything. The other carburetor, nice to have a spare one hanging around. Right. Don't break that. Okay, we're good. Now we can spam through the other stuff. Just to be fair, me going slowly clicking on it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Ooh, that is something I didn't look at. If the Holden has it, we don't have an ignition coil, do we? Or maybe I just missed grabbing it because it's in a slightly different location on the car. No, we would have to have pulled it all... Oh, there it is, of course. What am I on about? I'm looking at the wrong side. Ignition coil from the Holden is repairable. That's also... Ah, bugger! It is repairable, and we've buggered that one up as well. Did this definitely not come with one? Is possible... Is it possible? No, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't have missed it on this, I don't think. No, I didn't have one. It would be there. I probably did pull it off. It's probably the one that we didn't get repaired. Crap. Right, so we don't have an ignition coil. That is something we're going to go need to find somewhere. That's going to be a pain in the arse. Alright, carburetors, we have got enough. Do we have all of the... air filter. There we go. I remember that. I remember what we're looking for. Yeah, okay, so we can make up a full air filter. I'm fairly sure we got one of these fixed. We've got 2 of them fixed. Air filter and the cover. That's good, because the cover would be an arsehole to find. Ignition coil, we know we don't have. Water pump pulley. Crankshaft pulley. We've got one of those. That's always nice. Power steering pump. Yes. And then... belts to go around here. Serpentine belt, A and B, nice and simple. In fact, got plenty of those repaired. We should have a fan as well from one of the cars. That's nice and simple as well. Right, let's quickly go and... we don't have exhaust manifolds on this side, do we? No, let's go jump in all of these spark plugs that are hopefully going to have enough in good conditions. Perfect. And then the valve push rods. Right. actually a very, very successful... Of the barn finds, like the possible barn finds that we could have come across, that is literally the perfect, the perfect scenario. 2 cars with the engine bits and suspension bits that we need. I don't think I could have asked for a better outcome, really, in terms of the vehicles. And add on to that one extra interesting car on an engine that we haven't... I'd say we have worked on an i4. What was it that we... Oh, the Manx had an i4. Of course, I should have kept the bloody... Manx, I sold the damn thing. Should have kept it so that we could have stolen the engine out of that because that was already repaired and then messed around. Just sort of added the... actually, no, I guess I couldn't have done because it wasn't a turbocharged one. Never mind. Wires are on this side. This side we need push rod. I didn't put the push rods in over here. Now, let's go see if we've got... I'm hoping we will have enough to complete this engine. That would be a very, very successful day. Yeah, we really could not have asked for a better barn find between interesting cars to work on going forward and completing the Pantera in the way that I want to. That is basically spot on. The gearbox is still an issue, but we might be able to solve that with stealing parts out of... Not the gearbox, sorry, the clutch. Still an issue. We can hopefully get bits out of that Holden to work on here. And they will go back onto the Holden eventually at some point when I'm swapping around the engines. We do have an engine cover as well. That's good news. I think we've got the clip hanging about for the... what's it called? Yes, we do. Clip for the distributor. That's on there. The coil, that's going to be a pain. Coil is going to be a real pain. However, yeah... We need the coil, we need to sort out the clutch. Then the engine will be good. Then we have work on the running gear to do, and then trying to find the bodywork parts. That's going to be the tough part. However, for now, we've had a successful time. That, though, is going to be it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.